If you've been thinking about buying a house for the last 7 days or for the last 7 years and you have not pulled the trigger, this video is for you. Buying a house is one of the most scariest things for a lot of people, and it's definitely not as easy as people think. The reality of it is most of us never actually buy a house because we never take the proper steps to even begin the process of home buying. In this short video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do and some potential obstacles that may occur in order to get home ownership. The very first thing that you need to do is actually desire home ownership. It has to be in your thoughts, it has to be in your plans. If that's materialistic or if it's subconsciously, you have to actually want to buy a home. It is almost impossible to ever obtain anything on purpose that you do not desire. Now, when I say reach out to a broker or a real estate agent of your choosing, that does not automatically give them the upper on other. Now, I highly suggest that you do your research and have conversations with these realtors before you choose if you're going to be working with them or not. Once you've built that relationship with that agent and you've chosen to work with that particular agent, they should be able to guide you through the rest of the process, which I'm going to go through right now. Next, your real estate agent should be able to recommend a lender to get you pre-approved if you are buying the traditional way, which basically means you're not paying full cash for the house or there's no form of creative financing. Most agents have a preferred lender, but I always recommend working with an agent that give you multiple lenders to choose from, because ultimately it's your choice on which lender you would like to work with. Okay, so after you are pre-approved by the lender of your choosing, you will be able to shop around in whatever market you're looking to buy in your price range. After you figure out which house you want to put an offer in, the next step is actually putting in the offer. That is something that your agent will do at your authorization. This normally includes a earnest money deposit. The standard amount that it goes for is around 1% of the purchase price. However, I want to be completely transparent. There is no law in any state that says you need to put down earnest money at all. Earnest money is an act of good faith, but it is not required by law. Okay, cool. So after you put down earnest money, you write the offer. Your agent will send it to the listing agent or the seller himself or herself and wait for a response. They could counter with a higher or lower price, or they could counter with terms. It's all negotiable, but for this particular scenario, let's just say they accepted your offer. After that, the buyer will be held liable for an inspection on the property, which in some cities could be optional. I always recommend that you do get an inspection. That ranges anywhere between $300 and let's say $700 in the Chicagoland area, just depending on the size of the unit and where the property is actually located. After the inspection is done, the buyer also will have an additional out-of-pocket expense for the appraisal. Now, the appraisal generally comes from the lender. And again, this is both out-of-pocket expenses from the buyer. Now, the appraisal can make or break a deal, and I'll explain that here now. So, for this particular scenario, let's say that your property that you are purchasing, that you put an offer in, was accepted at $200,000. After the inspection, everything came back clean. Now, when you did the appraisal, however, it did not come in at $200,000. Let's say that the appraisal came in at $185,000. That means there's a $15,000 gap that needs to be negotiated between the buyer and the seller. If it came in right at 200,000, then we're all golden. But for this scenario, there is a gap that needs to be bridged, or the deal could be off the table completely. But for this scenario, let's just say the seller said, I accepted the offer at $200,000. I do understand that the appraisal came back $15,000 shorter than what I was expecting, but I will still accept the offer at $185,000. That means this deal is still on. It's a simple document that's called an addendum that needs to be attached to the purchase agreement and contract in order for this process to go through. Once all parties have signed the addendum, we can move forward to a scheduled closing. Now, up until this point, the buyer has put down earnest money of 1% of the purchase price. The buyer has paid for an inspection, and the buyer has paid for an appraisal. Now, the buyer needs to bring closing costs to the table, which at some point may or may not have been negotiated between the buyer and seller upon acceptance of the offer. Also, depending on which loan program the buyer agreed with the lender with, closing costs can vary. It can be as little as 0% to about 3 or 4 when it comes to the closing costs on the buyer side. It all depends what was negotiated, but just for transparency, the closing costs and the down payment are two separate things. So once you complete the task of the closing costs, which is generally a cashier's check or it's wired to the attorney, then the process is over. You are now a new homeowner. Congratulations. If you have been thinking about buying a home and you have no idea where to start, feel free to reach out. My name is Chevy Harris. I'm a licensed real estate broker and investor with Coldwell Banker. I love helping first-time home buyers get home ownership, and ultimately, I teach you how to build wealth through home ownership, which is one of the most simplest ways to get into real estate investing. If you are enjoying my content, feel free to reach out and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys on the next video.